Good morning, students. I'm Harshada More. Welcome you all in the first lecture of Unit 2 for the subject Labor Legislation. So, in last week we have already completed Module 1 for Labor Legislation, where we have discussed different three acts. In today's class, we'll be starting Unit 2, that is, which is related to compensation and welfare. So, this particular unit includes different acts which are related to compensation and welfare. So let's discuss the introduction part of this act, that is ESI Act 1948. What is ESI? That is Employees State Insurance Act 1948. So this particular act was established by the Parliament of India in the year 1948 to start. They have established this act in 1948, but to start with ESI schemes initially launched on 24th of February 1952. So at they have just started this only with the two centers at India. So those centers name are, first is Kanpur and second is Delhi. So these were the two centers where they have started this particular implementation of this act, and which covers workers of 1.2 lakhs, that is 1 lakh 20,000 employees were included in this particular experiment. So the reason behind establishing act was so that the country can achieve its socio-economic justice, which includes the socio-economic justice which are included in the DPSP, that is the directive the first DPSP, that is Directive Principles of State Policy. Under Part 4 of this particular DPSP of Indian Constitution, and that it includes Article 41, 42, and 43. These are the articles which are focusing on this particular act. So which enjoins the state to make the effective provisions of the securing the right to work, right to education, and also public assistance. So in the case of where they have to give this particular right, where in the case of unemployment, old age, sickness, etc. So this particular act has a wider scope than the act which we have studied in the previous classes, that is Factories Act. It is more have a more larger aspects than aspects than a Factory Act. Next is, let's discuss what are the different objectives of this particular act, that is Employee State Insurance Act 1948. So what are the objectives of this particular act? First one is welfare scheme. So it whenever I have already, I think, told you that whenever you are writing any objectives, try to mention two in front of starting your statement. So it is welfare schemes. It means to provide socio-economic welfare schemes to employees. Next is benefit to employees, to provide certain benefits to employees in case of sickness, in case of maternity. So this is what. Next is justice, so to provide justice to poor labor class, to and also to conduct welfare activities which are related to intellectual, which are related to physical betterment of the workers. So this is what the objectives of this particular act. Next is, what are the different benefits employees are getting with the help of this particular act, that is ESI Act 1948. Okay, so this is a short form. You may get a question that explain ESI Act. So don't get confused. So this is the same, Employee State Insurance Act 1948. So sorry for the disturbance. So the employees are getting different kinds of benefits out of this particular act. So first benefit is medical benefit, sickness benefit, maternity benefit, disablement benefit, dependence benefit, funeral expenses, and rehabilitation allowances. So these are the benefits which employees are getting out of this particular act. So let's discuss benefits one by one. First is what kind of a medical benefits employees are getting out of this particular act. So wherever there are 1,000 employees or more than 1,000 employees, it is mandatory to maintain a service dispensaries they have started establishing service dispensaries with the full-time medical and paramedical personnel. So they are appointing the medical practitioners as well. So in case of where there are employees are less than 1,000, they are appointing a part-time ESI dispensaries, and they are, if they are also, they are maintaining maintaining the medical practitioners. So, and where residential concentration of the employees is scattered over a long distance, mobile dispensaries are established for such people. So they are appointing they are registered medical practitioners, they are appointing for particular handling this dispensaries. Next is, what are the sickness benefits? So second benefit is sickness benefit, where the when there is when any employee is facing due to some disease or any sickness, they should get 50% of the average daily wages. And for extended sickness, like for example, you can't predict that particular sickness will continue for this week or next week. You can't predict, so sometimes it extends more than 91 days as well. And if employees have already worked for 2 years, it should be they should at least work for 2 years, and and they are allowed to get this sickness benefits even after their extended sickness after their extended sickness period. They can get the particular 50% of the average daily wages. So it is applicable from 1st of Jan 2000. It is applicable. And next is, they are also allowing 14 days of 14 day they are enhanced the sickness benefits. It's payable to insured women for 14 days of tubectomy, and 7 days in a case of vasectomy in case of a male IPs. So this is what about the sickness benefits male and female are getting. Next is maternity benefit. The benefit is payable in cash to an insured woman for confinement and miscarriage or sickness arises out of the pregnancy, and or a premature birth of a child or a miscarriage. So for confinement, the duration of the benefit is 12 weeks 84 days for a miscarriage, and 6 weeks, and for sickness rising out of the confinement, etc., that is for 30 days. The benefit is allowed at about full wages, and the rate of confinement expenses has been increased from 2,500 to 5,000 per confinement. So this is what the maternity benefits they are getting. Even these are the benefits. You can't say it is a benefit, but they are recompensating when any woman is on maternity leave. If the lady is facing any kinds of sickness or a miscarriage, then they can get a compensation for that. The company will try to compensate for that. It may not be fully, but it might be in a certain way. Next is disablement benefit. The act provides for cash payment besides free medical treatment in the event of temporary or permanent disablement as a result of employment injury as well as a occupational disease. The rate of temporary disablement benefits is about 90% of the wages as long as the temporary disablement lasts. And in case of total permanent disablement, the insured person is given life pension worked out on the basis of the loss of earning capacity determined by the medical practitioner. So there might be a disableness which arises due to accidents or anything happened at the organization, so that the organization should compensate that employee, because that person might be the only person who is earning at family. So this kind of a benefits organization is giving to the disabled person. And they are also giving for a temporary disablement, they are giving 90% of the wages to them. Next is dependents benefit. In case of a death as a result of employment injury, the dependents of the insured person are eligible for periodical payments and pensions at the rate of 90% of the wages is repayable, shared by dependents in a fixed ratio on a monthly basis in accordance with the prescribed share. And an eligible son or daughter is entitled to dependents benefit up to age of 18. The benefit is withdrawn if the daughter marries earlier. So dependents benefit in the sense, if if any employee get expired, then the and he has some insurance, paying for insurance premiums, then that automatically shifts to the anyone who is a dependent in his family, that can be wife or his or her children. So 90% of the pension is applicable for in such case. Next is funeral expenses. So funeral benefit is a cash payment payable on the death of the insured person towards the expenses on his funeral, the amount not exceeding 10,000. So the funeral expenses also differs from again the caste. It depends on the caste, or it can be depends from a different culture. So some of them are like they are spending a lot of money on it, and some may not be spending a lot of money. So this particular act allows minimum, that is maximum 10,000 expenses for this funeral. Next is rehabilitation. So on a monthly payment of rupees 10, the insured person and his family members continue to get medical treatment after permanent disablement or a retirement. Suppose a person gets retired or a disabled, he's unable, he's become some certain kind of a handicap, then even the family members should get certain benefits out of it. So these are in short, I think they have explained about all the acts after that. So benefits to employers. What are the benefits to employers? We have discussed so far benefits which employees are getting. Employers, what kind of benefits they are getting? Exemption from the applicability of the Workmen's Compensation Act 1923, exemption from Maternity Benefit Act 1961, exemption from payment of medical allowances to employees and their dependents or arranging for their medical care, a rebate under the Income Tax Act on a contribution deposited in the ESI account, and healthy workforce. So, as on 31st March 2013, about 6.6 lakh employers were covered under this particular scheme. So, this is enough for today's class. So in today's class, we have discussed about the ESI Act, that is Employees State Insurance Act 1948. We have discussed introduction part of this act. We have discussed objectives of this act, and we have discussed benefits of this particular act to employees as well as employers. So I know there are many law related terms, but this, as it is a paper full of acts, you should use the whatever terms they are using. That's it. That's what from my end. If you are facing any kinds of difficulties to understand this concept, you are free to ask your doubts. So that's all for today's class. Remaining aspects will be continuing in the next class. So thank you.